Okay, time for change. Change to everything and absolutely anything. But with that being said, the most obvious question would be how's this world to begin? And even though this is also to involve the explorative experience that is able to be described as the walk of life, this is a free exploration concerning the idea of psychic abilities. Now, to avoid the whole biblical saga being brought forth out here, it is to acknowledge that there is a possibility that a few biblical scriptures may be used to possibly bring some insight towards the idea of psychic abilities. However, it is also to equally realize and recognize that I have clearly looked into this matter, that the Bible does not clearly state that an individual shouldn't look into the future. It only clearly states that an individual shouldn't worry about the future, that if they are following with the commandments of God. But reflecting upon the fact that Jesus also came to teach the 7 virtues of life, of which are also able to be described as following the straight path of life, it's also then noticing that we again shouldn't worry about the future if we were to be following the straight path of life. And yet, I had absolutely no idea where to begin with this, so it was only to think of certain individuals that came to predict the future, whereby Nostradamus came to predict the future, but it's to acknowledge that his predictions were not exact. Da Vinci came to predict a lot of the future, but his predictions were not exact. The Mayans came to predict the future, whereby they came to predict the ending of the world. But this was again translated as the Great Apocalypse. But it's easily to notice it was a notion of great change. It's also to acknowledge that the Bible also comes to predict the future, recognizing that there is a beginning, and then it also comes to predict the ending of the world. But in this, it is also noticing that there is a universal law of cause and effect in this, whereby if the devil has been sent down to earth, it's to understand that the effect of this would be the destruction of earth through that of a sinful state. So if we were to change the future, it's obviously to again change the whole process of this again, right? So psychic abilities, to see into the future, it's easily to acknowledge that not one of us are able to see into the future within this physical state. I mean, we are all basically basing the future on pre-existing knowledge, right? Whereby I am able to predict that I will one day die. I'm able to predict that somebody out there will die, an animal will die, an insect will die, a butterfly will die. I'm able to predict simple things. I mean, this is all basically, again, the universal law of cause and effect. But if we were to see into the future, again, I'm not physically able to see into the future, whereby I'm constantly exploring this physical state with the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness. So if I were to see into the future, it's easily to acknowledge that, again, with the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness, is constantly absorbing current knowledge. So to see into the future would be to be aware of future knowledge. It's to coming to acknowledge future knowledge, right? So, I mean, the whole idea of this is quite amazing, to be honest with you. I mean, if you had to actually think about it, I mean, to see into the future, you would have to be in a dream state, obviously, right? But also to see into the future, I mean, there's obviously things that we can see, notice from this physical state. I mean, from God's physical sources of life, whereby this is me, this is you, this is insects, birds, plants, animals. I mean, if we are able to predict the future, that if bees die, I mean, we're stuffed, right? I mean, if certain plants die, they'll never be seen again. I mean, the rhino will never be seen again. I mean, that was predicted. I mean, the prediction came true. I mean, this is all basically falling on, again, the universal law of cause and effect, right? So again, to see into the future, we'll be entering into a dream state. But to enter into a dream state would be to either be through lucid dreaming or through that of meditation. But if we are exploring through that of meditation or through lucid dreaming or even through that of the psychedelic experience, it's obviously acknowledging that we are coming to connect with our state of I am, our spirit, our natural state, right? Which doesn't exist with age, which doesn't exist with a description, doesn't exist with a name. It's just the state of I am being. I am a human being, basically, or I am a male human being, basically. So it's easily to acknowledge that again, if we are connected through the state of I am and through the state of oneness, to see into the future would be basically either be connecting with this divine state of I am, whereby it's connecting with this infinite state of truth, right? If it's to reflect that there was once an infinite amount of chaotic knowledge within a state of nothingness, and within this infinite state of nothingness, a piercing of light came to exist and gave emotional direction to this infinite amount of chaotic knowledge, whereby this emotional and pure emotion came to sensationally attract and this infinite amount of chaotic knowledge, and through sensationally attracting this infinite amount of chaotic knowledge, it also came to sensationally learn, and through sensationally learning it came to sensationally understand how this infinite amount of known knowledge, again, it is now known, it is in the state of truth. So again, if it is to see into the future, it is to see through a dream state, right? But again, if God, or the state of I am, has also not only been described as a spirit or that of light, but has also been described as that of life, right? All which has been mentioned within the Bible, right? God has been described as the state of light, the state of spirit, and the state of life, right? And the state of I am, recognizing that Jehovah actually means I am, right? So in this, it again will be connecting through the state of oneness, right? But again, if the universal order is the universal law of cause and effect, right? It's acknowledging that this divine state of I am has only come to predict a future on the universal order of the universal law of cause and effect, whereby if I had to now follow a sinful state or a sinful being, right, it's easily to acknowledge that this pure state of truth, right, is easily able to predict a state of course, right, that I am now able to follow through with a sinful state that is again going to lead to my destruction, right, at the end of the day. I mean, it's either going to lead to physical sickness, a mental breakdown, or an emotional breakdown. So in this being stated, if I had to follow through with this sinful state, the universal law of order of cause and effect, again the great prediction of the divine state of I am, is going to bring this into such a state of truth, right, to be seen, right? If we are to connect with this divine state of I am through a dream state, recognizing that it is through the dreams that the divine state of I am comes to give us these messages, again mentioned within the Bible, right? Wait, no, I cannot find it. But the divine state of I am comes to relay these messages through the state of dreams, right? Wow, found it. Okay. Numbers 12 verse 6. And he said, "Hear my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and I will speak unto him in a dream." Right? So again, this is easily to be directed towards the lucid dreams or the meditative experience or the psychedelic experience, whereby we again are connecting with this divine state of I am. But again, I mean, if we are to think about the freedom of choice, right? Freedom of choice. Again, it clearly states that wherever the Spirit of God is, there is freedom. Thus, the greatest sacrifice that God ever gave us was the freedom of choice. Recognizing that, again, I am able to change. I might come into a great sudden realization, so to speak, and that may be so truthful that by tomorrow morning I might not do it at all. For instance, a lot of addicts, right, placing on substance abuse, right, alcoholic abuse, right, have come into such a great sudden state of realization that they again have come to change the next day, right, whereby they have either come to throw away the drugs or throw the booze down the drain, so to speak. But again, it's through this divine state of, again, if we are emotionally able to change, right? I mean, the effect, the cause and effect is able to change, right? So in other words, the prediction is to change, right? So the mere fact is that if we were to experience a psychic experience, right, within our dream state, or within our a meditative state, or within the psychedelic experience, it's only to acknowledge that this is basically the divine state of I am showing us such a state of truth that has been, how could you say, connected through the universal law of cause and effect. Basically, this is basically connecting up the dots, so to speak. I mean, if we had to think about astrology and all of this, it's all basically connecting up the dots. Numbers, all basically connecting up the dots. I mean, the universal cause and effect is all basically connecting up the dots. But again, if I am able to predict something like, for instance, a great change, right, or something beyond this. I mean, Nostradamus came to predict quite heavy things. I mean, again, reflecting on the Bible, I cannot understand how individuals cannot notice the Bible as quite a psychedelic book. I mean, to think about the amount of individuals within this book that had visions, right? And a vision is, again, a state of truth. And if they are having visions or predictions of the future, again, it is only a future that is through the divine order or the universal order of cause and effect. Recognizing that, I mean, to see the future, if I had to see my future, again, the divine state is going to place my current state of where I'm going into a cause and effect theory, right, and place it into possibly 5-6 years if I had to stay on this track. But again, what I'm to see is only a mere glimpse. I mean, basically, this is basically opening a window, only to see just that, right, and that's all you're gonna see. I mean, psychics, for instance. Psychics that come to, how could you say, predict where certain individuals are. I mean, at certain points. I mean, individuals that have gone missing, I mean, they all go to these psychics. Oh, where is this individual? Where's this individual? And they always say, what was he in love with most, right? And it's through this connection of love, again, it is through this connection of love, and it's through this divine state of I am, that again we are all connected to, through this state of oneness, that we are able to predict where certain individuals are, or predict what they're experiencing. I mean, twins, for instance, the one twin can be on the other side of the world, and again their intuition will come to state that something negative has happened because there's such a great connection. Parents especially as well have also come to have this great connection and can feel that something's happened to their child on a distance. I mean, this is all basically a prediction. We are able to see in the future. I mean, we all basically have this psychic ability to see in the future. I mean, the whole idea of deja vu shouldn't just be ignored. The mere fact is that you came to experience this through a state of vision, right? And this state of vision was not your, I mean, this was an invision, so to speak. I mean, if we are to see the physical state through vision, it's to envision, right? But the main fact is that, again, we cannot control life, right? We can plan for the future. I can plan to go to this place, but I cannot state that it's not going to come down in a great flood, that the public transport system is going to be totally mucked up. I cannot predict this. I mean, this is not all. So the mere fact is I can plan things, but I cannot totally rely on it. I mean, this is it's quite fascinating, so to speak, but the mere fact is that we aren't in control of life. That's the whole thing about it. I mean, what we are in control of is ourselves. I mean, we are able to connect through, like, have these psychic abilities and these predictions and these visions and all of this. I mean, conspiracy theorists have come to mark out conspiracies, great conspiracies, through connected dots. Again, it is all basically through the state of cause and effect. I mean, this person killed that person, went there, and that person killed that person. I mean, for instance, right now we're seeing a reporter that got murdered in some embassy, and there is a connective line of dots that is able to trace back to where he was and to wherever he might be. I mean, this is a complete secret to all of us, but who knows, complete secret to whoever. But the main fact is that we have, beyond this physical state, again, the egotistical mind is able to remember. If we are able to remember in the dream state, if we are able to close our eyes and bring ourselves into such a state of clarity of what is there to remember, the mere fact is that we are able to connect with our future, but it would be through this divine state of I am. But again, the focus of it again is easily, I mean, if we had to think about the universal law of attraction, again, closing your eyes through the state of meditation, focusing on something that you would want, seeing it, hearing it, smelling it, tasting it, feeling it. How is the experience of it all? Bringing it into a state of belief. I mean, basically, there we are predicting the future. We are creating a future through the universal law of effect. I mean, basically, we are attracting this infinite amount of knowledge. Again, yeah, it's through everything is basically through the universal law of cause and effect. I mean, basically, there's no way to understand it. In between the universal law, again, if there's a cause is to be the learning, and the effect is to be the state of meaning. In between this is the state of change, which is again the state of the known, of how it comes to change, right? And it is in this change that is unpredictable. I mean, this is the freedom of choice, right? So it's through the freedom of choice that the future will never be within an exact state, but it is able to somewhat be predicted. But the prediction will never be within an exact state, if that is within your understanding. Okay, so in mentioning the walk of life, where this is to be a 420-kilometer journey that is to be entirely walked, where it's to discover, practice and create the meaning of life. And yet, who am I? I'm an individual who is incapable of controlling earthly life. I am an individual who is incapable of controlling universal life. And yet, it's equally understanding that I am capable of controlling my own footsteps as with controlling my own choices, thus controlling my own daily progress. So regardless, take me forward, I'll be going forward. Take me 2 steps backwards, I'll still be going forward. And it's coming to equally understand that it's through this forward notion that eventually I will be exploring and experiencing this journey of life, and eventually be sharing this journey of life with all those who may be interested. Again, during the season of summer. So with that being said, may the lovers keep on loving and the haters keep on hating, and with that being within equal understanding, may it be so. Namaste.